If you're new to gardening, the crops you start with can make or break your first year. Pick the wrong vegetables and it can get frustrating pretty fast because they could grow slowly, die easily, or give you one tiny harvest and then quit. And if you've got a small space and a busy schedule, you can't afford that. So in this video, we're going to walk through 7 vegetables that simply will not let you down in a first garden. They grow fast enough that you see progress quickly, and then they turn into real food that actually shows up on your plate, even from one small raised bed or a few containers. I'll show you why each one makes this list, when to plant it, and the simplest way to grow it so you can feel confident right away. So let's start with number 1, and that's lettuce. If you've never grown anything before, lettuce is one of the fastest ways to see that all of this works. I'm just about ready to plant it in my garden here in upstate South Carolina, and I'm finishing harvesting carrots from this bed that I planted last year. And next I'm going to plant my lettuce and spinach seeds. They're just about ready to go in because lettuce needs the soil to be above 40 degrees Fahrenheit to germinate, up to around 60 or 70. And I've found that it does best somewhere in the middle. You can use a simple meat thermometer like this one to check the temp of your soil, and it's actually pretty fun to do. The soil is about 51 degrees right now, so it's definitely ready for lettuce. Most lettuce varieties are ready in about 30 days and sometimes even sooner. If you want a perfect head of lettuce, that's going to take a bit longer, but for the baby leaf lettuce that you see in the plastic packages at the store, you just snip the leaves once they're big enough for a salad, and then you can leave an inch or two of the plant above the soil and let it grow back. Then you can harvest it a few times until it starts to taste bitter and the plant looks tired, and then you know that the plant is done. Lettuce prefers cool weather, so it's one of the first crops that you can plant in spring and then one of the last in fall. So in a lot of places right now, you can think about getting it in very soon. You can grow it in containers like grow bags and in raised beds like this. Wherever you can fit it into a spot with 6 to 8 hours of nice springtime sun, or it'll even tolerate 4 to 6 hours and some afternoon shade when it starts to get warmer out. Lettuce from the store is expensive and it goes bad fast, and it rarely tastes like much. When you cut it fresh and bring it straight to your plate, it's crisp, it lasts longer in the fridge if you want to store it, and you harvest exactly what you need instead of throwing half of it away. You just sow the seeds directly into the cool soil, keep the soil moist, and you'll see sprouts in less than a week. This next crop gives you greens and roots at the same time. Beets, especially the early wonder tall top variety, are a great early spring crop because it handles cool soil well like lettuce does. I'm still harvesting the ones that I planted last year, and in a week I'm going to be planting my spring round. The greens do die off in the winter if you leave them in the ground like this, but you can plant beets in the spring around the same time as lettuce. Smaller sized roots are ready in about 40 days and a little bit longer for full-sized ones. Both are perfectly fine to eat and delicious. Beets are a 2-for-1 crop, so you get the greens, which cook just like spinach or Swiss chard. You can sauté them, add them to soup, or use baby leaves in salads, and then you get the roots. So if you're going to cut the greens before the roots are ready to harvest, just like lettuce, you're going to want to leave a few inches intact so that the plant can keep growing greens back and then the roots can keep developing at the same time. You can roast beets, which is my favorite. You can grate them raw for salads, cut them up and eat them raw in hummus, or you can pickle them. They store really well in the fridge, especially if you remove the greens when you harvest so that they don't pull moisture from the roots. I keep them in the bottom drawer of my fridge. So when you plant, direct sow the seeds right into the soil just like lettuce, but about 1/2 inch deep. Then keep the soil evenly moist. They don't need much space, so you can grow them in containers or raised beds. I linked the early wonder variety I grow in my botanical interest storefront below if you want that exact one. So beets give you substance, and this next one gives you steady flavor that you're going to reach for almost every day. Bunching green onions are a crop that I've had in my garden for years, and I can't imagine not having them. I have them tucked into several different places in my garden, and you can see them starting to grow back right here at the end of my raised bed. They mostly die back in winter when temps get down to like the single digits, but you can just trim back the brown stuff in the early spring, and then you're going to see new green shoots come up when it starts to warm up outside. They'll multiply at the base, and then all you do is dig them up and separate them, and then you can plant them other places in your garden to get free plants. They're a perennial, which means they're going to come back every spring after they die off when it gets really cold in the wintertime. And basically, when they come back every year, you never have to buy seeds again if you keep dividing and refreshing them in early spring every other year or so. You can keep harvesting the greens throughout the growing season. There's no need to pull out the whole entire plant unless you want the small white onion bulbs. When you plant them from seed for the first time, they like to be planted in early spring. And like beets, you just plant the seeds right into the soil and keep the soil watered but not too soggy. So most of us buy green onions over and over because they're so versatile in the kitchen. But you've probably noticed that the store versions, they don't last very long because they're half wilted when you buy them. But when you grow them, you step outside and you cut exactly what you need for steady harvest through the year for real use in your meals. If at any time you want more support in thinking through your garden more intentionally this year in terms of what to grow and how much space you really need and how to build it around your real life, that's exactly what I teach inside my full course, The Intentional Garden System, and it's linked for you in the description. So green onions keep supporting your kitchen kind of in the background with very little maintenance. And we need to talk about tomatoes though, because they give you that quintessential summer garden flavor, and cherry tomatoes are beginner safe. In my experience, tomatoes can be absolutely tricky, but cherry varieties are far more forgiving than the large slicing types. They set fruit reliably, they handle temperature swings better, and they keep producing the more you harvest right up until the first fall frost. I don't have any to show you in my garden right now since they're a summer plant, but I'm planning on growing one in my Vigo self-watering tomato planter this summer. The fact that it's self-watering takes away the guessing part about how much to water, and it has a built-in cage for support. The plants do vine out and they can get pretty big, but if they're supported, you can keep them more contained. You can also prune them back, and they're not super picky about that, which is nice. This planter has wheels on it, so that's really convenient because then you can easily move it around on a patio. So one healthy cherry tomato plant can give you hundreds of tomatoes until the first fall frost, and you don't have to wait all summer for one big harvest and then they're done. You can also grow one plant in like a 15-gallon grow bag or in a small raised bed. You just want to make sure that you use cages for support. They need at least 6 to 8 hours of full sun. You can buy an established transplant from your local garden center your first year if you want, or you can start the seeds indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost if you're ready for that step. I am just about ready to get mine started indoors. If you can already imagine those tomatoes over eggs or tossed into salads, herbs are what really deepen that flavor, especially ones like basil. Herbs are one of the fastest ways to completely change the way you eat because they add so much concentrated flavor in a tiny little amount, and they're so easy to grow. You just snip what you need from the plant, and the more you harvest, the healthier the plant is, and it keeps on growing. In other words, the more you harvest, the better. I grow mine in the Vigo Easy Cube self-watering planters because most herbs can grow pretty close together, so I can fit a lot in one of these. This is the 2x4 version right here. I use herbs pretty much every day, and they're so high value, so the self-watering aspect of these planters increases that value even more because it reduces the maintenance. I have perennial plants in these planters that are going to come back in the spring, and then I tuck the warm weather ones that die back after a frost, like basil and cilantro, in between those. I also grow a lot of herbs in grow bags like chives, mint, and sage because I don't want them taking over my raised bed space. I even have a mini variety of rosemary planted in pots by my front porch, so you can really tuck them in anywhere you have sun. Immediately after you plant your herbs, you're going to quickly see that small, steady harvests are going to lead up to a big difference. If herbs deepen flavor, this next crop fills the plate, and that's pole beans. Again, these are warm weather plants, so I don't have any to show you right now, but they're going to go into these 15-gallon grow bags after the last frost and when the soil warms up to around 70 degrees. These are going to climb whatever you give them to climb, and I'm planning on making simple teepee-shaped trellises that are going to fit over the grow bags. One thing about grow bags that I want to mention is that they do dry out more quickly than a raised bed or in ground, so you'll need to check them daily. They also leach nutrients quicker, so I'll usually water my plants with fish emulsion fertilizer every other week or so. So beans are going to sprout fast after you plant them, usually within a few days, and then once they start climbing, you can almost see growth day by day. Since they use vertical space, that's a win in a small garden. Harvest usually begins around 50 to 60 days, and the more you pick, the more they're going to produce for you. In my experience, they'll slow down in extreme heat, but then they bounce back when temperatures start to moderate. And of course, you can eat them fresh all summer, but in case you didn't know, if you let the pods dry on the plants at the end of the season, you can save seeds for next year or use the dried beans in things like chili or winter soups. This next crop gives you something you can carry into fall and even winter. And it's another one that I can't show you right now, but I'm going to have it climbing up my trellis here this summer. It's butternut squash, and specifically a smaller one called Honeypatch. It's compact compared to traditional butternut squash, and it's a lot sweeter, and it stores well long term after you pick it and cure it. And all curing means is that you let them sit in a warm and sunny porch for a week before you bring them inside to store them. And that basically toughens the skin so that they're going to store for months. So because the Honeypatch squash are smaller, it's easier to grow them on a trellis over or between raised beds. You plant after your last frost in warm soil and then give it at least 6 to 8 hours of full sun. It takes about 90 to 100 days to harvest, so this isn't instant gratification like, say, herbs are. But one plant can produce several squash that store for months, and when you slice into one in November, long after the vines are gone, that's when it clicks that your garden has carried you forward. If you're new to gardening, you don't need to grow everything to make a real impact. You just need a few crops that give you fast wins, steady harvests, and food that is actually going to show up on your plate. Start with 1 or 2 from this list, get those right, and let them build your confidence. And if you want more practical, small space guidance like this, click or tap the next video on your screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.